Yes. Very good afternoon. Today we are going to discuss about the methods of data collection. Here, what are the sources of data? In that, primary data and secondary data we are going to discuss. What is the difference between primary and secondary data? We are going to discuss. And the important part, methods of collecting primary data. In that, personal interview, indirect oral interview, information from correspondence, schedules, through the questionnaire we are going to discuss from primary data, methods of collection. Along with that, the census and the sampling methods we are going to discuss, where population method, that is the census, sample method, types of sampling, random sampling, simple random sampling, restricted random sampling, and non-random sampling we are going to discuss. So here, when we are talking about the data, generally it refers to uh, numerical data, quantitative, and without the values also will get data that we call it as qualitative. So while analyzing the data with the help of tools, we understand the problems by providing the information. So with the help of collection of data is called as data set, where simple observations we called as data point. So here the collection of data is a fundamental step in any statistical analysis. This statistical data can be obtained from particularly the two important sources. One is primary data, the another one is secondary data source. So on the basis of the method, the sources of data, which is the collected, the data is classified into the again two groups, as I said, primary and secondary. So the primary data are collected by the investigator himself for the first time, and therefore it is original. So what is primary data? Primary data, with the help of structured questionnaire, the person directly going to the field, a particular area where he wants to collect the data, directly he asks the questions to the respondents. That is comes under the primary data. So the information collects directly. On the other hand, the secondary data, the data is collected by someone other than the user, as we know that. What does it mean? So the information which is collected by the other persons, other sources, for example, RBI. Every data will get in RBI. If you want to collect the GDP quarterly, half yearly, and annual data, you will get. If you want to collect the information of inflation, if you want to collect the data on pulses, food grains, non-food grains data, you will get from the RBI. Every data, even exchange rates, nominal exchange rate, real effective exchange rate, foreign direct investment, FDI data. So this type of data will get in the RBI. That is the secondary source. WDI, World Development Indicators. We also get plenty of observations data in that, where every country's data available in WDI with free of cost. So the secondary data, which is collected by someone, from that source, we are those who want again collecting the information or the data, that is secondary data. This secondary data, maybe over a period of time we are collecting, but primary data at a point of time they are collecting. So here, the secondary data, when we are talking about, we get daily data, we get weekly, monthly data, quarterly, half-yearly data, and a yearly data. This comes under time series and secondary data. So here, as I said, there are two types of data, primary data and secondary data. So the primary data, the data which are collected directly from the individual persons, we call respondents for the first time by the investigator for a certain purpose of the study. Why he wants to collect that information? He already prepared with the help of the questionnaire, so that he'll ask that questions. So the primary data are original in character in the sense that they have been recorded as the accurate without having any grounded at all. Because it is primary data, so the person is directly collecting. They simply related to the collection of the original statistical information also. We can say that, which is related to primary data. Coming to the secondary data, as I said, the statistical data, which is already collected by someone, some agency, and compiled from the source by the inquirer for his use, we call it as secondary data. So the secondary data are collected when adequate or authentic statistical information which is already available in various sources. So there is a when there is a vast time and money to collect fresh statistical information, time-taking process, so that the secondary data which is already exist, some form, or we call it as other published or unpublished. So simply secondary data which is already collected by some sources. Okay, if you want to collect RBI data, FDI data, it is there in the RBI. It is there in the WDI, World Development Indicators, Reserve Bank of India. We can get free of cost. If we want to study the relationship between this FDI and GDP, whether FDI impacting positive or negative, we can calculate whether it is positive impact or negative impact when we are having these two observations, two variables data.